Hey, what's up, me, Tom? I'll back to review on the channel, and today we're doing another tutorial. This is how to use replay mod in 2021, how to use replay mod for thumbnails in 2021, how to use replay mod at all. I'm basically showing you guys how to make Minecraft thumbnails, right? And Minecraft thumbnails, they're not that hard to make. However, the problem is a lot of people want to make those like insane, crazy thumbnails that a lot of the Hypixel YouTubers do, which is like the ones with the character and all that. And yeah, someone actually asked me to use if they want to use my thumbnail in the video, and I'm just like, no. And so I decided, you know what? I might as well just go ahead and show them how to make my thumbnails, just so I can help them out just a little bit. So, yeah, guys. Anyways, so make sure to subscribe for more Minecraft videos, and I'll show you guys how to use replay mod for Minecraft. Also, one more thing, actually. So, this tutorial is actually really old. It's from my other channel, but I'm going to show you guys what that tutorial was, and it's basically the same process. It may be slightly different, but it's basically the same process of how I make thumbnails. So yeah, let's go right over to it. So, we are on Minecraft. Why are we on Minecraft? Well, that is actually a very good question. So, the way that I make my thumbnails is that I use the thing called replay mod. Now, you probably heard this mod before and be like, wow, I don't know how to use it. Well, congratulations, I don't either. Not really that much, but all I need to do is just take a screenshot. Screenshots are very easy to take with replay mod. You have to hit start record when you install replay mod for whatever, version that you're playing on. Preferably 1.8.9 if you're on Hypixel, or if you play, Hypixel, then yeah. So I start record. What should I do to make my thumbnail? I could just, I guess, jump around and take a good shot. The best way to I guess, get a good thumbnail, you kind of have your character jumping around, because having characters standing still in one spot doing nothing, it's kind of boring. But, it really depends on what kind of thumbnail you're making for your Minecraft thing. You can also go into, individual games and, record the individual game. So, for example, I can just go into Sky Wars and, start fighting people and all that, and it will work the same way. You don't need to stop your recording, go into the game, start your recording. You don't need to do that. It might be easier for you to hopefully find the clip that you want, or the stop that you want, I guess. But in my opinion, that's not really necessary. Okay. Now once you're done, the replays will be saved up here, and then you hit done, and then go to replay viewer. And it should be the top few replays, depending on how many replays they've done. Maybe you've done more than one, and so yeah. And as you can see, here's my character running around. F1, making sure that I can put up my GUI. As you can see here, I'm just walking around, and the way to stop is to first you have to hit T, and then you pause, hit escape, so you can go back into I guess the camera view, and then maybe just slow down the speed so that you can get the perfect time where your character jumps. Let me just skip ahead a little bit because I start talking here somewhere. Hopefully my character will jump up or not. Okay, and yeah, let's just zoom in. Not zoom in, just kind of get close to it and take a screenshot like that. A lot of times I like to have it either in the center or off to the side. Mostly, in my thumbnails, as you may know, or if you see my thumbnails, then I always go for the ones off the side normally. There's unless there's a rare occasion where I just go down the middle. The reason why I do this is because a lot of the times it fills up that negative space, and it gives you more negative space to put something on the left or right side, depending on which side you prefer. I like the right, having the character on the right side for now, so I'll just hit F2. Now there's a few things you can do. You can have the rendered name and tags. You can have the chroma key. I don't see why you need any of that at the moment, depending on the scene. Maybe if you have a green background, you can use the chroma key to make it easier on your life. Oh, and one more thing actually. If you hit B shows all the players, so you can turn off and on the players. So that's very important to know. Aside from that, hit F2. I like these settings myself, so I'm going to hit the screenshots, and where it's going to be saved is that it's going to be saved on your Minecraft screenshots folder. It actually shows you where your output file is, because if you click on it, as you can see, it's your Minecraft screenshots folder. So let's actually go to that right now. Alright, so the way to access your screenshots is to go percentage, app, data, percentage, not $, percentage, then go to your .minecraft folder, then go all the way to your screenshots folder. My .minecraft folder is very hectic. So, as you can see, my screenshot's right here. Double click on it just to make sure. Yep, there it is. And I forgot to mention, you can also like put on texture packs like in game to change the textures, and also shaders also works pretty well. So there's that. But I said to just keep it default for now. Now here we are in Photopia. This is the website that I'm using to make your thumbnail. So just hit new project. Let's go to create. Now let's get our image. So here it is. Drag it in, and yeah, here it is. What I normally do, I normally cut this out. Now, how do you cut it out? Well, there are several ways to cut this out. Some of the more popular ways is take the magic wand tool and just like essentially just get all of this crap, highlight everything except for the character, and then just delete it. But the problem with that is that obviously there's a bunch of different colors here and there, like, you know, and also, I don't know if you saw, but when I clicked on this, it actually got, you know, attached to this, so I can adjust the tolerance, and overall it's just a pain. What you need to do is that you need to go to the lasso tool. Now don't hit lasso select. Lasso select is not the tool that you want, because it's like a drawing thing, and if you're not good at drawing with the mouse, then you're probably not gonna like that. Go to the Polygonal Lasso tool. Now what this does is that it creates straight lines, similar to how, you know, well, obviously the name Polygonal Lasso select kind of tells you what it is about, just straight line. And this might be tedious at first, because when I saw people doing this, I thought to myself, damn, that takes a long time, and it really doesn't. You know, once you get used to it, it'll just be embedded into your brain, and it's not too bad. Now, you know, you're not gonna be perfect, because it's hard to get a perfect cutout, especially since of the anti-aliasing, where it like kind of adds a blur to the border, which makes it so that a bit of the background color along with the a bit of the character's like skin color or clothing color kind of like blends in together to make a border, which is very unfortunate. And there you go. See, in the time that I was talking, it literally just, I highlighted the character. But yeah, so overall, you're not gonna get a perfect cutout, but it's gonna be pretty close enough to the point where you're gonna be satisfied. So you have to duplicate the layer and hit select inverse. Now, the way that you can tell that the select inverse works is because it selects everything around the character. Alright? So once we have this selected, hit right click this, go to rasterize, and rasterize, what it does is that it makes you have the ability of editing, and this could be like warping or erasing, but in this case we're going to delete everything in the selected layer. Now you might be wondering, well, I hit delete, but it didn't show. That is because of the background layer, which is going to be used for other stuff, such as, you know, obviously giving us a background. So, aside from that, hit deselect. Now, we have the character, like, it's cut out and everything, and we can, like, you know, toy around with it a little bit. Add a drop shadow, add a stroke, don't you love when you give your character a stroke? Add a gradient, maybe have it like a color dodge. Look at that. You're essentially applying filters to your character in a way. For now, we're going to do the basic stuff, and we're going to go over like what I do in particular, but you can easily like make a unique layer style of your own choice to fit your kind of, I guess, thumbnail design. What I like to do is I like to go with the gradient overlay, go to blending mode, and go to overlay. And what this does is that it adds more, I guess, contrast to it, and overall it just looks nice. Also, if you feel like your character's a little too dark, what I like to do is I like to duplicate that and hit color dodge, and then lower it to a point where you find it acceptable. I like that. That looks pretty cool. One thing that is also pretty good, that it's, you know, very similar to this stroke, is a drop shadow. And now you might be wondering, how is it very similar? Well, take a look at this. If you go to change the distance to 0, set the spread to 100%, hit this, change this to normal, opacity 100, There you go. It's essentially a stroke. And the reason why this is good, the reason why you should use this is because you can change the distance of it, and it can kind of like create a very unique look to your character. And so, yeah, I like putting it like around 5 or 6. Not too much because it will just look a little out of place. Let's change to the 5. Add another drop shadow. Decrease the size of the first drop shadow, the one on the very top. Like maybe put it at 6. And then set it to like white, for example. And you can obviously like change up the colors to like match your character, or you know, depending on, like I said, depending on the thumbnail style, just change it accordingly. And yeah, I like that. This looks pretty okay. Maybe have this as like a light bluish color. I don't know. Honestly, just mess around and see what looks good for you. Overall, I'm not gonna mess around too much with the character. Maybe add an inner glow, which kind of like gives a nice, well, glow to the inside of the character. I can't really say much other than just experiment because, you know, it's just, it really is up to you. Change the color to like a light blue. And yeah, I honestly think that for now, we should just leave the character alone and just go on to the next thing, which is essentially adding in effects and whatnot. Now, there are a few ways of adding effects, and one of the more popular ways is to use a effect pack. Well, these aren't officially my effects. It's called the Camp Creates pack, the retro pack. And yeah, so what this adds is that it adds in a lot of effects, and as you may notice, I added it as a separate project file so I can drag it in. So I have this nice border here. It's a nice rainbow border, and I use this a lot because of the flexibility and the possible editing choices. So as you can see, I added in a border, and I'm going to put it below the character so that the character kind of pops out. Now I'm also going to add a layer style to the border. So let's go gradient overlay, and let's actually like change the color of the border. Now how are we going to do that? Well, there is a few ways of doing this, and the most popular way is just to add, like, let's say a color overlay or a gradient overlay, and then make sure that the opacity is 100, and then changing this to color, and it'll essentially change the color of the border to that color. You can also add a hue, which it's a slight difference. Color, in my opinion, adds more pop. Hue sometimes looks better at sometimes, you know, like just pick whichever one looks good at the time. There's also a bunch of stuff I can add, like for example, I can add smoke. There's a smoke effect that I really like. This one right here, I really like this smoke effect. It looks very, very nice. Maybe I'll like lower it down a little bit. If you're wondering why like some of the projects or like some of the stuff has like a black, you know, background and how you want to remove it, just hit normal and change it to like, let's say color dodge or screen or lighten. It will get rid of the black background and, you know, change it to like, I guess a PNG or something close to a PNG. Soft lights, no, that doesn't really do it, but yeah, somewhere around that. And similar to what I said with the blending options, just kind of experiment with the effects and see what you like or what you don't like. Let's add in one more effect that I particularly enjoy, which is the fire effects. I also like this one as well. This one looks pretty cool as well. Put that behind the character, rotate it a little bit. I'm not too good with like, you know, how you should go about using your effects, but for the most part, I just don't, my only advice is really just to not go overboard with it. Maybe I'll like remove these effects once I, you know, find the perfect, I guess, look for the thumbnail. Still, just like, you know, mess around and have some creativity with it. Now, for the background. The background, Minecraft thumbnails have a more saturated background because it kind of, it's more eye-capturing. And the way to like make it more eye-capturing is just to go into image adjustments and then curves. The way that the curve works is that this right here, anything lower, like it kind of like makes it darker, and then everything above makes it lighter. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to have an increased darkness in the darker colors and an increased lightness in the lighter colors, which kind of gives a bit of a contrast. Another adjustment that I really like is the vibrance adjustment, where you can kind of increase the saturation to have that pop that I was talking about earlier. And you can also mess around with the blending options here as well, where you can have a gradient overlay, maybe change the color of it, or in this case, I kind of want to make the image a little lighter, so I'm going to kind of do something like this, where I have a white to blue gradient, and then overlay it. It's a little too light, and so there we go. And maybe add a filter here where, like, if I want the background to be blurred out so that the character is the main focus, you can go over and like play around. I like the radical blur the most because of the creativity, and this is very popular in like thumbnails and whatnot. So decrease the amounts, change it to zoom, which kind of like brings everything more inwards, and then change the position so that it's behind the character. Let's move on to the text. And the text, I mean, there's a lot of like different fonts you can add. If you want to add in a font, you just download the fonts and then hit load font and then click on like the font file, and then you'll bring it over to here. The fonts that I added in is Minecrafter, Cartoonist, Minecraft. I mostly use Minecraft or Cartoonist and the Minecraft fonts. There's also a bunch of custom fonts here that you can take a look at, and they're all pretty good. Everything is up to the user's preference. That's why I'm not trying to tell you guys to like copy exactly what I'm doing. I'm just trying to open up your mind as to what you can and cannot do for thumbnails. The can is just to be creative with it, be unique and whatnot. The cannot is to like, you know, just don't copy from another person's thumbnail design, and try to make the thumbnail light so that and like saturated to an extent where it's eye capturing and people want to click on it. So let's type out how to, and then on the next text layer, let's type in make a thumbnail. Now you might be wondering, why did I make it on separate text layers? Well, that's because if I don't do this, then using the blending options will be a pain. Okay, so let's just organize it so that it's all aligned up. Okay, and what I like to do is I like to like maybe rotate it a little bit, okay, and stretch it out so that it kind of fits. I'm gonna do some more stuff with the movements or like the positioning of the text, but for now that looks okay. And let's right click on the how to, and let's add some, you know, filters to it, or layer style. Now I like to copy the layer style of the character and paste it into the text and see how that looks. And if it looks like a little weird, then I'll edit it. So one thing I noticed is that the color overlay is not working correctly, and that's because the text is naturally black. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm going to change this to a nice blue to dark blue, you know, gradient, and then I'll change this to normal, and there you go. Also, I noticed that the gradients is lighter here, darker here, and the way it changes is to have it at a certain angle. So I think that's as close as I'll probably get it. I'm not gonna like stress about it too much. That looks perfectly fine, and yeah. So let's just copy the layer style over, paste it on the other text, and I guess you can like change the layer style of each individual text to make it more unique. So yeah, but for now I'm just gonna keep it simple and have every piece of text you know, unique. Now you might have noticed that when I added in the layer style, kind of made it overlap the text. So the way to fix this is to obviously use the arrow keys to kind of like move it out of the way a little bit. So that looks fine, and then increase this a little bit. The make a or the how to seems to be a little too big, so I'm just gonna like maybe just decrease the size of the how to parts, and that looks fine on its own. And then adjust the make a little bit, and then thumbnail. That's pretty much as good as I can make it. So what I want to do is that I also want to hit I want to select all of these layers by selecting on the top one, and then hit Control, click on all of the layers that you want to, I guess, rasterize. And the reason why we're rasterizing these things is because you can kind of I guess, position them in a way that would look even better. And a fun little trick is that if you hit Control, you can kind of pan it a little bit to make a very unique look to the text. Kind of mess around with it a little bit and see what looks good. And that's pretty much it for how to make a thumbnail. I don't know exactly if there is a particular way or a particularly good way of making a must-click thumbnail, but this is the way that I make my thumbnails, and it's not really too advanced once you get the hang of it. It's just as simple as just experimenting and trying your best to make a unique design for your thumbnails, and yeah, overall, just have fun with it, just like try to make something unique, make something creative, and eventually it'll come to you in time. So for now, thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked the video, just go ahead and subscribe. And remember to be the top. I'll see you guys next video. Take care and good.